Welcome to class today, everybody. This is your instructor, Jordan Fogel speaking. Today in class, we're going to learn about alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs by going over a PowerPoint presentation that I made about alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. Following the PowerPoint presentation, there is a crossword puzzle that I made for you guys about alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs, and you guys will complete that for the end of the day activity. So during the PowerPoint presentation, there's going to be a lot of slides I'm going to be skipping over. And those slides that I'm going to be skipping over contain information that I don't want you guys to learn about. And the slides that we do go over today in class contain information that you guys will need to learn in order to complete the crossword puzzle activity. Feel free to take notes and to pause the video whenever you guys need to take some notes. So, without further ado, let's get started with our first slide. Our first slide talks about drugs and drug use. So what is a drug? A drug is a non-nutritional chemical substance that affects the way the body or mind functions. Responsible drug use is the correct use of legal drugs to promote health and well-being. Drug misuse, on the other hand, is the correct use of a prescription or an OTC. An OTC, if you're wondering, is an over-the-counter drug. An example of an over-the-counter drug is Advil, Tylenol, and ibuprofen. Those are drugs that you can buy at a drugstore or a grocery store, and you don't need a doctor's note or a prescription from a pharmacist in order to buy those drugs. Drug abuse is the intentional use of a drug without medical or health reasons. The next slide that we're going to go over is alcohol and alcoholic beverages. So what is alcohol? Alcohol is a drug found in certain beverages that depresses the brain and nervous system. Beer is an alcoholic beverage that is made of fermenting barley, corn, and rye. Wine is an alcoholic beverage made from fermenting grapes and other fruits. Liquor is an alcoholic beverage that is made from distillation. Blood alcohol concentration, also known as BAC, is the amount of alcohol in a person's body, or blood, I mean. The higher the BAC, the greater the effects of alcohol on the body. Factors that affect BAC: amount of alcohol consumed, speed at which alcohol is consumed, body size, percentage body fat, gender. BAC rises faster in females than males. Most females have higher percentage of body fat than most males. Feelings: amount of food eaten, presence of other drugs in the bloodstream, age, drinking carbonated beverages. The next slide that we're going to go over is alcoholism. So what is alcoholism? Alcoholism is a disease in which there is a physical and psychological dependence on alcohol. Effects of alcoholism on the family. People with alcoholism often have difficulties with relationships, money, and jobs. Children whose parents abuse alcohol are more likely to have problems with alcohol in the future, unfortunately. The next slide that we're going to go over is about nicotine. So what is nicotine? Nicotine is a stimulant drug found in tobacco products, including cigarettes and chewing tobacco. Nicotine stimulates the nervous system and is highly addictive. So what we have pictured here in this first picture is a picture of cigarettes. The next picture we have pictured is a can of snuff, or dip as it is called by most people. And the slide here on top of the PowerPoint presentation is a picture of Red Man, also known as chewing tobacco. Tobacco products that contain nicotine. Tobacco is a plant that contains nicotine. Tobacco can be smoked in cigarettes, cigars, and pipes. A cigarette is dried and shredded tobacco leaves in paper, or wrapped in paper, excuse me. A cigar is dried and rolled tobacco leaves. Pipe tobacco is shredded tobacco that is smoked in a pipe. Smokeless tobacco is a tobacco that is chewed or snorted but not smoked. Chewing tobacco is a tobacco product made from chopped tobacco leaves that is placed between the gums and the cheek. Snuff is similar to chewing tobacco, but it is a tobacco product from powdered tobacco leaves and stems that is snorted or placed between the gums and the cheek. Next, we're going to go over nicotine dependence. Nicotine is a powerfully addictive drug. Nicotine goes straight to the brain and acts on the areas of the brain that controls feelings of pleasure. Nicotine withdrawal syndrome is the body's reaction to quitting tobacco products. People with nicotine withdrawal syndrome feel a craving for tobacco. They may be anxious, irritable, and restless, may have headaches and difficulty concentrating, can become frustrated and angry, and have heat palpitations and increased appetite. So right here, in this first picture, are risks from smoking. Smoking can damage every part of the body. So right here on this side of the picture lists chronic diseases. So you can get stroke, blindness, gum infection, aortic rupture, heart disease, hardening of the arteries, chronic lung disease and asthma, reduced fertility, hip fracture, and over here lists the cancers that you can get from smoking. Get cancer in the head or the neck, lung, leukemia, stomach, kidney, pancreas, colon, bladder, and cervix cancer. And in this picture over here shows a picture of a smoker's lung. So somebody who smokes a lot, this is what their lungs will end up looking like. And this is the picture of somebody's lungs who doesn't smoke, also known as a healthy lung. Next, we're going to go over stimulants, and below is a list of stimulants: cocaine, crack, lookalike drug, methamphetamine, MDMA, I think I listed meth twice, and caffeine. Health consequences of stimulant drugs: cause immediate death, harm the body, harm the mind, causing dependence, risk of becoming infected with HIV and hepatitis B, increasing the risk of accidents, violence, and crime. Going back to this slide, here's pictures of stimulants. Coffee is actually a stimulant because caffeine actually stimulates the brain and the body and the mind. The next drug that we're going to go over is narcotics. Narcotics are drugs that slow down the central nervous system and relieve pain. So right here is a picture of heroin, and heroin is a narcotic, and it is used in a syringe to inject into the bloodstream. It's going over types of narcotics. Morphine is a narcotic found naturally in opium that is used to control pain. Codeine is a painkiller produced from morphine. Heroin is an illegal narcotic derived from morphine. It is often injected, snorted, smoked, or taken as a pill. Black tar heroin is heroin produced in Mexico that is dark in color and sticky in texture. Oxycontin is a narcotic drug that is prescribed for chronic or long-lasting pain. Next, we're going to go over health consequences of narcotics. Can cause immediate pain, harm the body, harm the mind, causing dependence, risk of becoming infected with HIV and hepatitis B, increasing the risk of accidents, violence, and crime. The next drug that we're going to go over is marijuana. Marijuana is the dried leaves and tops of a cannabis plant, which contains THC. THC is a drug found in the cannabis plant that produces psychoactive effects. So in these pictures right here, this is a picture of a marijuana plant, and this is marijuana that is chopped up and rolled up, and it is smoked in a similar fashion to cigarettes. Next, we're going to go over health consequences of marijuana. It harms the body, harms the mind, causing dependence, risk of becoming infected with HIV and hepatitis B, and finally increases the risk of accidents, violence, and crime. The next drug that we're going to go over is anabolic steroids. So, anabolic steroids, or steroids as it is usually called, are drugs that are related to hormones. An anabolic steroid is a steroid that is related to male sex hormones. These steroids promote the growth of skeletal muscles, anabolic effects, and the development of male sexual characteristics, and cause some other effects. So if we look at this picture right here, it talks about the effects of anabolic steroid use. Balding in men and women, hair on face and chest in women, deepening of voice in women, severe acne, breast enlargement in men and breast reduction in women, kidney disease and retention of fluids called steroid bloat, reduced testicle size, lower sperm count, high blood pressure, cholesterol, high blood pressure, oh geez, and damage to heart. Here are some other health consequences of steroids. It can cause immediate death, harm the body, harm the mind, causing dependence, risk of becoming infected with HIV and hepatitis B, increasing the risk of accidents, violence, and crime. The next drug that we're going to go over is inhalants. Inhalants are chemicals that affect the mood and behavior when inhaled. Huffing and sniffing is inhaled flames to get high. Bagging is inhaling flames from a bag to get high. Inhalants are inhaled from balloons, cans, and other containers. Next, we're going to go over health consequences of inhalants. Inhalants can cause immediate death, harm the body, harm the mind, causing dependence, and increasing the risk of accidents, violence, and crime. So here's the risk of using drugs. Using drugs can lead to overdose. Using drugs can lead to accidents. Using drugs can increase the risk of HIV infections, sexually transmitted diseases, also known as STDs, and unwanted pregnancies. Using drugs can harm relationships. Using drugs can prevent people from developing social skills. Using drugs can lead to violence and illegal behaviors, and using drugs can lead to drug dependence. Finally, drug dependence is the continued use of a drug even though it harms the body, mind, and relationships. Physical dependence is a condition in which a person develops a tolerance to a drug, and taking the drug becomes necessary to prevent withdrawal symptoms. Tolerance is a condition in which the body becomes accustomed to a substance. Withdrawal symptoms are the unpleasant reactions that occurs when a person who is physically dependent on the drug no longer takes it. Psychological dependence is a strong desire to continue using a drug for emotional reasons. So, right here is a picture of the crossword puzzle that I made for you guys, and I'm gonna attach a link to the crossword puzzle so you guys can complete it, and after you guys have completed it, you guys can email me and I will send you guys a grade and the answers to whatever answers you guys got wrong. Thank you so much, and good luck on the crossword puzzle. Hope you guys have fun.